On last week, we launched a series entitled The Secret to Living the Sweet Life. How many of you experienced sweet living over the past week? Some sweet living? How many of you could use some more sweet living? All right, you're in the right place at the right time. Today, we will continue with the secret to a life that is plentiful in divine opportunities, a life that is abundant in love and prosperity, a life of goodness, the sweet life. And there are so many sweet things, sweet experiences that we have in life that we are called to appreciate. Wouldn't you agree? So many plums of life, or so many mangoes of life, or so many papayas of life, papaya experiences. So many experiences that we have day in and day out that we're called to be mindful of, to appreciate, and to celebrate. In fact, I would encourage you to consider one of those sweet moments this morning. Since this morning, consider one sweet moment. One sweet moment. You got it? Tell your face that it was sweet so that we'll know to smile. All right. Forgive me. Now remember, as we're talking about the sweet life, we understand that when we focus on and share our come into a greater expression of appreciation and gratitude over the beauty, the sweet things of life, that we activate a divine principle. And there are divine principles, or also known as divine laws, universal laws that are at work at all times. And when we celebrate and appreciate any good in our lives, we activate the divine principle of attraction. And I know most of you, probably all of you, know about the law or the principle of attraction. If you've ever seen the movie The Secret or read the book, that the law or the principle of attraction says that whatever our predominant thought is, or whatever the image that we hold in mind, that the universe begins to conspire, in the words of Ernest Holmes, to bring forth corresponding manifestations that coincide with that particular idea that we're holding. It is the principle of attraction. So when we celebrate the sweetness of life, we get into that, that flow, and we get on that frequency, on that vibe, then we are commissioning the universe, the divine principle that's always at work, to bring more of that good in our experience, more sweetness in our life that we can continue to celebrate on. And, unfortunately, there are those who don't know that this principle works for complaining as well. Yeah, it does. It works for complaints. For instance, those who are stuck in complaining, always complaining. I know some people you probably know some people like that, or they live around you. They unconsciously, they do not realize that the complaint itself is an evoking and invoking of the principle of attraction. And what happens when we complain? We're saying, okay, universe, give me some more stuff to complain about. And what happens? The universe gives us more stuff to complain about. And then we get in this cycle of complaining, and the complaint itself becomes not only an effect, it becomes the cause that creates more effects in our lives that we complain about. Now, how many of you really know some complainers? Be honest. You know them. So listen, your assignment this week is to tell the complainers in your life, not today. No complaining to me today. I cannot afford the luxury of a complaining thought, because that thought tells the universe, bring me some more stuff to complain about. So we're in sync with that? We're on one accord? No more complaints this week. This is a complaint-free week. How about that? In fact, I believe that I have been deputized and under the authority of my calling. I would dare say this is a complaint-free spiritual community. How about that? No complaining at Unity. Church of Hawaii. How about that? So as we hold this in mind, and we understand that the sweet life that we have been commissioned, we have been called, we have been empowered to live life and to make life sweet and beautiful and blissful. Last week we talked about the first part of the secret, and it is a secret. Paul says, behold the mystery. I share with you a mystery that has been hidden for generations and generations. And that mystery is, the first part of the secret, the Christ in you, the Spirit in you, the life in you, the breath in you is your hope of glory. So the first part of the secret is the ultimate realization of our oneness with Source. When we engage in prayer and meditation and music, all of it is for one purpose. It is for atonement. Atonement, if we really look at it and break it down, means at one-ment with Source, with God. So we sing, we pray, we meditate, we share messages, we study to bring ourselves into at one-ment with Spirit, because it's from that place of one-ment or oneness we're able to create all of those things that come from that. And when we're in separation, or when we're out of oneness with the Source, out of oneness with God, what happens? We create the bitterness of life. I'll say that again. Because there is nothing outside of us doing anything to us, we unconsciously create the bitterness of life. I'm sure I just heard someone say, Jack, how in the world could I create this for myself? Unconsciously, we create bitterness. Bitterness is the reflection of a mind that thinks separation and duality. A mind that sees, says, it's God and Ed, or God and Ralph, or God and Judy, or God and Elaine, or God and Wally, or God and so-and-so. It's not God and. It is God as. There is no separation. It is God as Ralph, God as Daniel, God as you, God as Jack. That is the truth of oneness. Friends, when we move out of oneness, we begin to see separation. And from that space and place of separation, we create all manner of stuff. And it looks crazy and it feels crazy. So the first part of this secret, as we talked about last night, is coming back to Source, coming back to this place of oneness, coming back center, coming back to the breath. And realizing that this Spirit, this presence and power moves in us, through us, and as us at all times. The second part of the secret of living the sweet life is to really embrace the wow factor of life. Wow. Let's say that. Wow. Wow. No, say it like I said. Wow. Wow. 2 more times. Wow. 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 W-O-W. Yeah, I like that. W-O-W. Now, how many of you have used that term, prior to me asking you to affirm it, have used it today? Wow. Wow. The wow. Wow is an expression that we use when there are just no words to describe what we are seeing, feeling, or experiencing, right? Well, let's try it again. Wow. Have you ever had a wow moment? That was resounding. You've had a moment where the only thing you could say, the only thing you could do is like, wow. Wow. It's just like standing, at day's end right there. Well, for me, it's right there on Waikiki Beach, right at the edge of the water, watching the sun set. And oh my goodness, it's like every cell of my body shouts, wow. Have you ever stood at the same spot and watched the sun rise? And you thought, wow. What about when you wake up in the morning? Wow. Say it again. Wow. What about when you wake up in the morning and you realize that you're still here? Yeah. You're still alive. And you have health in the body, and the body is working, and we have a roof over our heads, or we have a lavish universe that provides us with food and plenty. We have a spiritual community called Unity Church of Hawaii. That's a wow experience. Wow calls us to be present. It calls us into the eternal moment. Wow, the wow moments commands us to move out of the past, get out of the future, and get into the now. As Dr. Wayne Dyer would say. Is it Wayne Dyer? Eckhart Tolle. Who was it? Eckhart Tolle. Get into the power of the now. Friends, it's in the now moment that we experience the bliss of life, the bliss of the universe. And as you consider this week, this is would like to encourage you. Charles Fillmore, a co-founder of Unity, often talked about this. He talked about taking a spiritual inventory. And I'm a big believer in that. I do this, it's a regular practice for me. Not only am I thinking about the stuff that I thought and all of the feelings, the things in my conversations, but began to take inventory of the wow moments. I'm not asking you to keep a gratitude journal. I want you to start a wow journal this week, all right? I want you to, every time you come conscious, or you are conscious of the wow moments, and I want you to know these moments are always happening. Think about your heart beating right now, circulating blood through your body. Think about the signals that your brain is sending to the organs. And think about all of this is happening in you right now that you don't even have to think about. That's the wow moment. Wouldn't you agree? Yes. Start a wow journal this week. And make it your decision, your choice, and it is a choice, that you will not entertain any complaining folks this week. If they come to you with complaints, they talk to the hand because the head is not listening today. We are focusing on the wow of life, not the stuff of life. You hear me? Why is this important? Because when you entertain it, when you entertain the complaint, the universe responds. I shared this story earlier. Several years ago, I was working as a certification specialist with an organization. I was helping to certify women business enterprises and minority business enterprises. My role was to make sure that they were legitimately managed, owned, and controlled by either a woman or a minority. They were not fronts. The process required extensive investigation, but every day I was excited because it was a career change for me. I was getting more money than I'd ever gotten. Come on, I was just really 1 year and a half out of college, 2 years out of college. I was doing well. I would get to work early, showing up early, staying late. And I would get in and I would just greet everyone, good morning, going to give my hugs and every morning. And there was this one worker. She'd been working there for years. Her name was Miss Ethel. Every morning, good morning, Miss Ethel. It's good to see you. Good morning, son. Isn't it a good morning? Yes, it's a good morning, but I sure wish I didn't have to come in here today. I sure wish I didn't have to be here. I'm like, oh, okay. So the next day, day in and day out, good morning, Miss Ethel. Isn't it a beautiful morning? Oh, yes, it's a beautiful morning, but I sure wish I didn't have to. I'll be so glad when I don't have to come in here any longer. Good morning, Miss Ethel. How are you? Oh, I'm well, but I sure wish I did not have to come in here. I could be doing many other things. And don't you know that unconsciously, Miss Ethel evoked the principle of attraction. The law worked for her in a way that brought her an experience as she was driving that prohibited her from ever stepping foot back into that organization. Friends, our appreciation, our attitude commissions the divine principles, the principle of attraction. And that principle will work for us regardless. It never discriminates, and it is no respecter of persons. When I started in ministry, I was given this book by Reverend Robert Wozner entitled The Imprisoned Splendor. That was a book that really was the sort of the catalyst for my spiritual unfolding. And in the book, Reverend Robert, I believe he served at Windward Unity, explained universal principles and universal laws. And one law that he talked about is, as we consider the wow factor of life, wow, and I really love acronyms, WOW is willing to be open. What did I say earlier? Yeah, you got it. Thank you for taking good notes. Willing to be open to the wonders of life, or willing and open to the wonders of life. And he explains this principle, this universal principle. It's called the universal law of consciousness. And the universal law of consciousness says we can only have and experience that which we are willing to be and become. Friends, you are fooling yourself if you think that you can experience more love without being loving. I am delusional if I think that I can experience more joy without being joyful, or I can experience more compassion without being compassionate. Mahatma Gandhi said it slightly differently. He says that if you want to see change in the world, you have to be it. The universal law of consciousness says that we just have to be willing. Willing. Have you ever been asked to do something that you really didn't want to do? Someone that wanted you to do a favor, maybe take them, drive them here, pay for, give them some money, and you really didn't want to do it, but you were willing to do it? I've had those moments. But because of my willingness, it was all of a sudden, I didn't have to. Oh, never mind, Jack. I got it. This is taken care of now. Oh, I got some more money. Don't worry about it. I don't need to go. It's something happened. I don't need to go. The universal law of consciousness says that we must be willing to be that which we desire to see and experience. So as we go through this week, we are starting our WOW journal. Then I encourage you to adopt the attitude of how sweet it is. When you think about your experiences, when you think about life, when you have those moments that just really, where you're conscious, and it's good, say, wow, how sweet it is. I believe it was Jackie Gleason. You remember Jackie Gleason? And he would always say, how sweet it is. If you are in a committed relationship or marriage with someone who loves you and they've been with you and they tolerate you, you should go throughout the day saying, wow, how sweet it is. If you have a roof over your head, a home to go to, friends, come conscious. Don't take the goodness of life for granted. Adopt an attitude of, wow, how sweet it is. I believe that we all rest in grace. We all do. When you think about your body and life and living, the sun that rises and that sets, or the earth that rotates, and nature that sings to us and serenades us and encourages us to see the greatness of this universe and to experience the sweetness of life. Think, wow, how sweet it is. I believe this is what the psalmist experienced when he began, or she began, to look at life and considered the universe, considered how wonderfully made everything is in the heavens and the stars and the moons and the suns and the galaxies and the nature and then human beings and all of creation. And the psalmist began to write, oh Lord, my God, how excellent is your name, your nature in all the earth. Friends, let's get on the wow train this week. Make life sweet. How sweet it is. You got money in your pocket? Wow, how sweet it is. And maybe you're standing in the midst of chaos right now. Maybe life looks crazy. Maybe life is a constant roller coaster. Maybe life is up and down, but that doesn't matter. You can still stand. Evoke the divine principle of attraction by affirming your truth. Wow. Wow. I am willing. I am open to the wonders of a new experience. How sweet it is. Are you on board? Are you with me? Are you with me? All right, go on. I believe, let's see. I believe it was, some say it was Marvin Gaye, some say it was James Taylor, but I don't know. How sweet it is to be loved by you. Oh, how sweet it is to be loved by you. I'll give you a clue, Christina. I needed the shelter of someone's arms, and there you were. Needed someone to understand my ups and downs, and there you were, with sweet love and devotion, deeply touching my emotions. I won't stop, and thank you, Spirit, I won't stop. And thank you